Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Your quick take on what's moving things forward.
Yeah, exactly. And today, we're diving into the world of AI again.
That's right. Specifically, some interesting developments from Microsoft and also Klarna.
Right. We've got a few reports here, and the plan is basically to give you a concise summary.
Get you the key takeaways fast so you're caught up on the big AI trends.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Microsoft. They unveiled some new AI stuff for their Edge browser at the Build conference recently.
They did. New AI APIs, basically tools for developers.
Okay, APIs. So developers can build AI features directly into websites or web apps.
Exactly. Using AI models that are actually built into the Edge browser itself.
That sounds familiar. Isn't that similar to what Google's doing with Chrome?
It is, yeah. You could definitely see it as Microsoft stepping into that ring, competing to offer this kind of built-in AI capability for the web.
So what's the actual AI model powering this? What are developers getting access to?
The main one they're highlighting initially is called 5.4 Mini.
5.4 Mini.
Okay. Yeah, it's a smaller model, relatively speaking, around 3.8 billion parameters.
3.8 billion. Still sounds like a lot, but smaller in the grand scheme of AI models, I guess.
Definitely smaller than the huge ones. And interestingly, Microsoft says it's particularly good at math problems.
Math. Why math?
They attribute it to the training data. Apparently, it's a mix of human-created information and synthetic data generated by other AIs.
Right, parameters. That just is a quick reminder for everyone. It's kind of like a measure of the model's complexity, yeah.
Pretty much. More parameters often mean more capability, but bigger isn't always better.
Especially if you want it to run efficiently on, say, my laptop or phone.
Exactly. Smaller models like 5.4 Mini can be nimbler, faster, use less energy, and crucially, they can run locally on your device.
Ah, the on-device aspect. That touches on privacy, doesn't it?
Big time. If the processing happens on your machine, sensitive data doesn't necessarily have to be sent out to the cloud.
Makes sense. So besides this 5.4 Mini and its math skills, what else are these Edge APIs for?
Well, they're also rolling out APIs for writing assistants.
Like helping you write emails or documents?
Yeah, things like generating text, summarizing content, maybe editing suggestions, all integrated into web apps.
Okay.
And they've also mentioned plans for a translator API down the line for, AI-powered language translation right in the browser.
What do you think is the bigger picture here? What's really significant about Microsoft pushing these tools?
I think it's their ambition for these APIs. They're talking about making them web standards.
Meaning they could work across different browsers eventually, not just Edge.
That seems to be the hope. Platform-agnostic AI for the web, that could be, well, quite transformative if it catches on.
And the privacy angle you mentioned, the on-device processing, that feels like a strong selling point too.
Absolutely. In today's world, that's a major consideration for a lot of people and businesses.
So where can people actually try this out? Is it widely available?
Not yet for everyone. Right now, these APIs are in the Edge Canary and Dev channels.
The early access versions, basically.
Yeah.
For developers and enthusiasts to test.
Exactly. Give developers a chance to play with it, build things, find bugs before the main release.
Got it. And also related to Edge, there was news about a new PDF translator.
Yes, built right into the browser. That sounds pretty useful.
How many languages?
Over 70, apparently.
Yeah.
And the process sounds simple. Open a PDF, click Translate, get a new translated version.
Simple is good. When's that rolling out?
Should be generally available next month, but Canary users can already access it now.
Okay, shifting gears a bit, but still with Microsoft. They also announced something called Microsoft Discovery at Build.
Sounds ambitious AI for scientific discovery.
Very ambitious. The goal is essentially to use AI to accelerate the whole scientific process. They're calling it agentic AI.
Agentic AI, what does that mean in practice? AI taking the lead.
It's more about AI agents acting as collaborators, I think. Microsoft describes it as an extensible platform that can handle science workloads end-to-end.
End-to-end, like from idea to results. Sort of. They talk about it helping with reasoning through existing knowledge, forming hypotheses, suggesting potential candidates maybe for drugs or materials, and even running simulations and analysis.
So the idea is scientists working alongside these specialized AI agents.
That seems to be the core concept, a partnership.
It's definitely interesting timing. We know other big labs, Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, are also pushing into AI for science.
Yeah, Future House, Leela Sciences too.
Yeah.
There's a real focus on this area across the industry. A lot of hope pinned on AI cracking tough scientific problems.
There's skepticism too, right?
Yeah.
Our sources mentioned researchers aren't entirely convinced about AI's current ability to really guide science effectively.
That's true. There's a fair bit of caution. The main issue seems to be reliability.
Unreliable how? Making mistakes.
That, but also maybe a lack of true novelty. Building an AI scientist that can genuinely think outside the box, anticipate confounding variables in experiments, that's incredibly hard.
It's not just about processing data, it's about real insight.
Exactly. Can AI truly replicate that creative leap that leads to breakthroughs? The jury's still out for many researchers.
And there have been examples where the results were maybe less impressive than hoped, like Google's GenomeE project.
Right. There was initial excitement about discovering thousands of new materials, but later analysis suggested many weren't actually new. And you also see setbacks in AI-driven drug discovery. Companies like Exscientia, Benevolent AI, they've had some high-profile clinical trial failures recently.
So it highlights the challenges. The promise is there, but the reality is complex.
Very complex. An AI that independently designs and runs perfect experiments is still likely quite far off.
Okay, let's switch tracks again. Microsoft Azure, their cloud platform, is now offering access to xAI's Grok models. That's Elon Musk AI, isn't it? The one with the reputation.
That's the one. Yes, Microsoft Azure is becoming one of the first big cloud providers to offer managed access to Grok, specifically Grok 3 and the smaller Grok 3 Mini.
Managed access. So
Yep.
businesses can use Grok through Azure.
Right, via Microsoft's Azure AI Foundry platform. And it comes with the kind of support enterprises expect, service-level agreements, direct billing through Azure.
Is this the same Grok that sometimes says controversial things on X? The edgy, unfiltered one?
That was the initial pitch, wasn't it? Anti-woke, willing to answer questions others might avoid. Some benchmarks even positioned it as more permissive on sensitive topics.
Yeah, I remember hearing it was willing to be, well, vulgar even.
It had its moments, and there have been controversies on X recently, issues with image generation, brief censorship, some problematic responses reported.
So is that the version businesses get on Azure?
Yeah,
Seems risky.
apparently not exactly. The report suggests the Grok models on Azure are more locked down.
Okay. Filtered. Sanitized.
Perhaps. They also emphasize additional capabilities on Azure, like better data integration, customization options, and crucially, governance controls.
Governance, so businesses can put guardrails on it.
That seems to be the implication. A more controlled, enterprise-ready version, likely without some of the wilder edges seen on the public platform.
Makes sense for a business context. Okay, let's talk about Klarna now. They seem to be really leaning into AI for efficiency.
They really are. They made a big push last year using their own internal AI systems, which are powered by OpenAI tech.
And they took some concrete actions, didn't they? Like cutting ties with Salesforce?
Yes, ended their Salesforce CRM contract, and also significantly cut back on hiring. Pretty bold moves.
And the payoff. The numbers look, well, startling.
They're quite dramatic. Klarna is apparently on track for nearly $1 million in revenue per employee this year.
Wow. Up from what, around $575,000 last year?
Something like that, a huge jump.
Yeah.
And they directly credit AI for a lot of that gain.
Where do they see the biggest impact?
The largest financial saving reportedly came from reducing customer service costs.
Right. They plan to replace a lot of human agents with AI chatbots. How many was it?
The initial plan mentioned replacing nearly 700 customer service contractors.
But there's been a recent change there, hasn't there? Bit of a backtrack.
It seems so. While they went hard on AI chatbots, they recently said customers will have the option to speak to a human agent again.
Interesting. So maybe finding a balance. Realizing AI can't handle everything.
Possibly. Or responding to customer feedback. It suggests a more blended approach might be the sweet spot, combining AI efficiency with the human touch when needed.
Yeah, that makes sense. And quickly, just touching on their IPO that's still paused.
Still on hold, yes. They filed for a U.S. IPO but put it off last month.
Why was that again? Market jitters.
Yeah, they cited market volatility after President Trump's tariff announcements. They did report decent revenue growth for Q1 2025, about 13%, but no word yet on when the IPO might be back on the table.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up, quite a bit covered. Microsoft pushing AI into the browser with Edge APIs and 5.4 Mini, aiming for web standards.
And also venturing into AI for science with Microsoft Discovery, facing both excitement and skepticism, plus bringing a more controlled version of xAI's Grok onto the Azure cloud platform.
And then Klarna showing some really significant efficiency gains from deploying AI. especially in customer service,
Yeah.
even if they're now fine-tuning that human-AI balance.
Exactly. From the browser to the lab to the cloud to the call center, AI's integration is clearly accelerating across the board.
It really is. So thinking about all these developments we've just discussed, from the web integration to scientific tools to business efficiency, what aspect of our daily lives do you think will be most profoundly reshaped by AI in the, say, near future? Where will we feel the biggest shift first?